Hey guys, Simon here when more Minecraft. So I've finished excavating out I guess the cavern for the water temple. Hold on, let me turn up the brightness again so you can see what's going on. So this is the space. Obviously the floor and the walls aren't finished off. You see the sand and the dirt and the stone like that, so that's gonna have to be changed later, but for now we're going to design the space. And I've been thinking as I've been digging this out, I'm thinking since it's quite tall I can have two levels, maybe like a 2/3 and a third, so and the top level would not be generally accessible. I'm thinking of making it so that you can parkour up there and there'll be like rafters and all that. Well, not really rafters, but you know, it won't be paths up there. It will be like a secret area that maybe you can parkour up to. And then there'll be the ground floor, which is the main area. And I haven't quite decided what to do yet. And I said in the last video, there'll be a central, or you know, a main area open to the sky. And then there'll be a dark area around that, and then a light area around that, just to create that contrast. And it's not set in stone at the moment, but that's the general idea. And I've decided to use sandstone. That's just sand, that's not sandstone. But I use sandstone because of the white color, so it catches the light pretty well. And since this project is mostly about light, I want to use a light material. I guess I can also use colored wool as well. I haven't used any of that in any of the stuff I've built so far, but maybe a bit of color. But yeah, things to think about before we get ahead of ourselves. Hold on. I need to lay out the grid, I guess. This thing is 51 blocks in diameter, and 51 is divisible by 3. So I'm thinking, oops, wrong button. Every 3 blocks. So it would be in the modules of 3 blocks by 3 blocks, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So now we're in the center there. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and so I'll lay out this grid and I'll do it off screen. And then I'll come back and think about this a bit more. I mean, I want to try to design this and record myself designing it, because maybe the design process will be interesting, and just thinking about what to do and how to do it. Alright, just let me lay these blocks out, and we'll come back and have a look. Alright, so I've put the sand blocks down every 3 blocks, so you can see we have a grid to work with. And before I go on, I just want to say that this isn't quite working out the way I was thinking. Not the design, but the video. Like, I was hoping to be able to show you guys the design process, but you know, as it turns out, I do most of the designing actually off screen, and you know, when I'm not playing the game, I'm thinking about it. And then when I play, I just build it, right? And so you're not actually getting to know my thought process as such. You know, things like, why do I use, you know, a grid of 3 blocks? I mean, that's because 51 is divisible by 3 and what was it, 17, I think, and nothing else. And so, you know, that's the logical unit to use. And then this part, you know, after I've put down the grid, I'm going to draw a square. Basically, I'm going to put a square inside the circle. And let me see, I guess it would be here. So you know, how did I decide that? Because, well, you know, squares are a lot easier to deal with in Minecraft because, you know, everything's cubes, right? So it's obvious that squares are easier to work with, whereas circles, you're always approximating circles. And when you do that, it's easy with a big shape, you know, like this outer circle. That's fairly big, but as you go smaller and smaller as you go towards the center, then the circles become too small and they're not very accurate, and you know there's not much room to work with. So you know inside the outer circle, I'm gonna put this square where the diagonal meets the edge of the circle, basically, and then I'll work out what goes on inside after I've done that, and then out here I have to decide what's going on with this leftover space. Yeah, there's like an arc there, and then there's a circle here, and then there's a little gap there, and also once I do that, that's not actually very big. Oh, and the module of 3 also works with the lighting that I'm thinking about, because I'm going to do the conceal the lighting, right? And so you have a wall on one side, a wall on the other side, and then torches in the middle, and then openings at the ground, not like that obviously, but openings at the ground for the light to come out of the bottom. So you don't see the light source, you just see the lights kind of coming out of these gaps near the ground. I mean, that's the idea for the lighting. And that also works with a minimum wall thickness of 3. And so, you know, as I do other stuff, and as I dug out the pit and everything else, I've been thinking about these issues. And so, you know, it's not like I decided on a module of 3 blocks just, you know, arbitrarily or just out of thin air. I actually, you know, thought about alternatives. I thought about what the 3 could be useful for, how it might not be as useful in some places, because 3 is not very big. You know, it's a very small module. And so then I have to consider the implications of that as well, and so I've actually spent a lot more time thinking about this than I am demonstrating in the game, and hopefully this is not too dark. I suspect it is. Anyway, let me just finish off the square. There we go. So you might think that's fairly big, but it's actually not, because remember what I thought about. There'll be a light ring, and then a dark ring, and then an open air central bit. And since the walls are 3 blocks wide, so let's say that's the wall, and then I guess the one ring should be at least 3 blocks wide again, and then another wall. Well, in fact, I don't think I have very much space to do anything. I think this is pretty much going to be it, because after that there'll be the water. No, that's not enough space even. See, this inside bit now is barely big enough for a central pool. So I guess it'll be light in the middle, and then this wall might actually be made of water, mostly water, and then a dark walkway, and then another wall, and then I guess these kind of leftover bits at the circle on the boundaries will be light again. So light, dark walkway, and then a light central inside bit. And I guess that's that. And again, you know, it seems like I'm just pulling the first idea out of my head and building it, and I've been saying that, you know, that's probably not a good way to design anything. You always want to think about alternatives, think about variations, and test them to make sure that the one you choose is the best one. And I still stand by that. I'm just trying to say that I'm doing that in my head when I'm not playing, and so I've actually thought about it a lot more than I appear to have. I should finish this off and then show you what it looks like, because I'm basically drawing the plan out on the ground as I go. So this is, I guess, me sketching. Now, an alternative to this I was thinking was, because there's a stairway there, I mean, it's not actually just a circle, there's a certain directionality to it. Like, you enter this way, and so there's a... well, this direction is significant. I was thinking of another possibility is, instead of having it in concentric rings like this, to have it so that it's, to have the central area on here, which is slightly off to the side, and then have the other areas go back towards the square, so we can have dark and then light and then dark and then open. And that might actually give me more space. In fact, I might do that, or at least I'll try to figure out how to do it. Well, let me finish this. How should I do it? Let me finish this off and then show you guys, and then I'll try the alternative, and then I'll show you guys as well, and then maybe we can put that video up, and then we can see if anyone has any interesting ideas about what all of it means. So let me do this first, and then we can look at it. Okay, so I pretty much laid out the plan for the water temple, and it's kind of difficult to see what's going on here, but just to briefly explain, I guess you have the entrance, and then you have, this will be a solid wall, or I guess a mostly solid wall, and then here there'll be a dark walkway in a square, and then this will be water, so you can see through it, and it'll be light on the inside, so you can see through it, but yeah, so the water's there, and I guess if you want to swim through the water you can, but then there'll be openings on the corners here, and I do that so that the light wouldn't, come into here, so there'll be light here, I guess, streaming in a little bit this way, and then there'll be light streaming out of here a little bit, but mostly it'll be dark, and then in the middle I'm thinking a pool of water, and obviously stuff above I haven't quite decided yet, but we'll get to that later. And just to get a better view of it, let's go in the middle and pillar our way up to the top so you can see a plan of it. I hope it's mostly legible. So if you imagine that outside square there, that's mostly a solid wall, and I'm thinking there'd be like, hold on, it's, oh no, the lag's gone, okay. Maybe water out on the outside as well, and then there'll be a path. This will be a dark corridor there. I hope I'm not moving the mouse too fast. It's all symmetrical anyway, so I don't need to turn around all the time. Let's just look at one side of it. So the path, and then path comes in, and then the middle will be a circular pool of water, and this will be water, so it'll be like 3 blocks thick. It'll be water falling down from above, the same as that, and it will form the circle and a square outside, circle inside. So that's one concept. Now if you want to try to imagine that and keep that in mind, now the second concept, I guess, is to move this inside square in that direction, away from the entrance. Now I just want to have a think how far back I want to move it. I mean, the obvious thing to do is to move that until it lines up there with the bigger square. And so that's 1, 2, so move this 2 modules this way. So imagine the square is there, and up to here, and it crosses, and then there'll be a bigger space here for something. And I guess that would be a dark room. So then it's slightly off-center towards this way. I'll build the... Actually, I might as well just do a bit of it on screen, see how long it takes. If it takes too long, I'll go off screen. But let's just get rid of most of this for now. Whoops, I took out too much. So it was back to here, I think it was. And trying to figure out which blocks are supposed to be here and which blocks aren't, so took out the wrong one already. There. Let me just do this off screen. Alright, I removed most of that. Now let's build the second option, so to speak. So I guess that goes there. And I'm trying to figure out whether I got this right or not. I moved it 2 blocks that way, right? So the corner used to be there, 1, 2, yeah? So corner used to be there, 1, 2, I'm guessing this is supposed to do that now? We can double check later. Let's just go with this for now. And I wonder if I want a single entrance here or a double entrance. Or something else. Never mind. Let's just do this first and figure out the details a little later. So don't need that. So what I'm basically doing is I'm sketching with sand. So instead of drawing on a piece of paper like a proper architect would, I'm doing it in game. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Oops. More sand. So now we have this arrangement. So the entrance is that way. We come straight in. Now there's this room here. And then there's this inner space here. So obviously, or maybe it's not obvious. So what's happening now is there's a bit of directionality to this. You know, the central room or the main room or the inner room is off center, and it obviously faces that way now, whereas previously it was completely symmetrical on all 4 sides. Now it has a certain direction to it. And as we're looking at these plans, just want to keep in mind that, you know, plans are one thing. What it looks like from the ground is often quite different, so we shouldn't be designing just from the plans. But nevertheless, that's what we're doing right now, because that's the stage we're at. Now, how should we enter into the central room? I guess we can... I guess we don't need to do the diagonal thing, really, because now that... So we're going to have light on the outside, dark here, and then light in the middle. That's what I'm imagining, although we don't have to have light on the outside. Well, definitely the middle is open to the sky, so skylight, and then dark, and maybe torchlight on the outside, just near the bottom. Yeah, let's do that. Or if we choose to do this. And I think we can just have a central entrance. Let me draw the circle in this one. Just let me double check my circle template, which I have open in a separate window, which you can't see, but basically it says 5, 2, 1, 2, oops, like that. And that. Okay, so that's the circle. Yeah, I guess we'll just do a central entrance for now. I mean, everything is negotiable at this point. you know, we can reconsider any of this at any point, and I guess all of this is meant to be water once again. So let's get rid of that. So it's a stone, well not stone, sandstone, and then water, and then in the middle there'll be a circle open to the sky. Do we want side entrances or not? Because there's that there. Yeah, why not? Why not? So we also have side entrances. Like that, and let me just go back up and I'll end the video about here. Oh, look at that, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Well, I don't want to be praising myself. Oh, look what I've done, I'm so awesome. Not really that, but that looks interesting. And I'm just wondering where do we want to move. Oh wait, lag. I'm just wondering if we want to move those to line, oops, that should be gone, to line up with those entrances or not. I guess not. No, we shouldn't. Okay, never mind. Well, let me explain myself, because this will be light, and this should be dark, and this will be light. If we line them up, then I think a little too much light will spill into here. And the side entrances should be, you know, they should be, well, they should be side entrances. They shouldn't be a main entrance. And so if it lines up, then it looks like a major entrance like this. This is obviously the major entrance because everything lines up, right? So when you make it not line up, then it doesn't have as much presence, I guess. So it is not as substantial. So it's a proper side entrance. Okay, so this is version 2, I guess. The last one is version 1. And yeah, I'll leave the video here. And you know, like the other stuff before, like the lighting concepts, I'm interested to hear what you guys think. And I'm open to any sort of comments or suggestions. And if you have any other variations that you can think of and that you really think will be awesome, I mean, I might try those out as well if you describe them for me. And you know, what do I do with those spaces out there? I'm not too sure. But yeah, you know, any ideas, any concepts, any inspiration that you might have, it might be interesting to listen to. And this is I guess I'm trying out this participatory design process, showing you what I'm doing and then seeing what you guys say about it. And also at the same time trying to show you how I go about designing things. Alright, so tell me what you think, and I'm not sure if you guys are able to translate a plan, which is what this is, into an actual building. If you imagine these things extending upwards, and their walls, and water and anything else, it's a bit abstract, and then if you haven't dealt with plans before, it might be a bit complicated, but hopefully it's not too confusing. Alright, so yeah, 2 versions that I've done, and any ideas you guys have, or any thoughts you have about the ones that I've shown you so far. And again, like with all things, you know, I ask for suggestions, and I get tons of suggestions, and in the end I can only build one thing, and so, you know, if I don't use your suggestion, don't feel like, you know, I'm hating on you or anything like that. It's just that, well, in the end I can only build one, so, you know. Alright, so we'll see what you guys think. Yep, thanks for watching.